Hey there! Today we're diving into a passage from Judges chapter 2, which really paints a vivid picture of the cycle Israel went through, a kind of spiritual roller coaster that feels all too familiar in our own lives. So let's unpack what's going on and see what lessons we can take away. First off, the passage sets the stage right after Joshua's death. The people of Israel were initially faithful, remembering how God had delivered them from Egypt, how he fed them manna, gave them victory over strong enemies. Joshua and Caleb, who were older leaders from the generation that actually entered the promised land, knew God intimately and followed him. But sadly, as generations passed, that deep, personal relationship faded. The kids knew about God. Sure, they heard the stories, the commands, the festivals, but they didn't really know him. You know how that goes, right? Sometimes you can know facts about someone but not truly know them. And that's the difference here. That lack of intimate knowledge led them down a dangerous path. They abandoned the Lord and started worshipping other gods, Baal and Ashtoreth, gods of the people around them. This was a serious no-no because God had warned them against intermingling with these nations and their sinful ways. But the Israelites began marrying Canaanite women and giving their daughters to those men, mixing themselves culturally, spiritually, and morally with people who didn't follow the true God at all. Now, people will always serve something. That's a key takeaway. If they don't truly serve God, they'll serve idols or the things of this world. And here we see this pattern repeated over and over again. The Israelites do what was evil in the sight of the Lord, or what was right in their own eyes. Phrases that basically mean they followed their own desires instead of God's commands. This spiritual drift didn't just affect them personally, it had real consequences. Because they turned away from God, he allowed their enemies to oppress them, to plunder them. It sounds harsh, but it's not punishment for punishment's sake. God's discipline often looks like this. It's meant to bring his people back to himself. Hebrews tells us God disciplines those he loves. So when Israel cried out in their distress, God was moved with compassion. Time and again, he raised up judges, leaders, and deliverers to rescue them when they repented and returned to him. Isn't that amazing? Even when his people were unfaithful, God remained faithful. He saw their suffering, heard their cries, and came to their aid. This blend of justice and mercy is a hallmark of God's faithful love. This brings to mind the beautiful chapter in Hosea, chapter 11, where God speaks about Israel as his child, despite their repeated rebellion, turning to idols, rejecting him. He says, "How can I give you up? How can I make you like Admah? My heart recoils within me. My compassion grows warm and tender." God's love is tender but firm. He won't abandon his people, even when they stubbornly turn away. That's so comforting to remember. And this story, this cycle of drift and redemption, isn't just ancient history. It's a mirror for our own lives. We all have moments when it feels like we know God, but maybe we've drifted from an intimate, personal relationship with him. Like the Israelites, we can get distracted by the things around us, settle for surface-level faith, or just follow what seems right to us, instead of God's perfect way. But here's the good news. God doesn't give up on us. No matter how far we wander, if we call out to him, he hears and responds. Jesus lives to intercede for us. He's always ready to bring us back into that loving relationship with the Father. So if you felt distant from God, maybe for a long time, or just today, take heart. There is grace and forgiveness waiting. God's faithfulness doesn't depend on ours. So, practically speaking, what can we do? We need to cultivate that personal relationship with God just like any close friendship takes time and effort. It means engaging with God's word regularly, spending time in prayer, and being part of a community where we encourage each other to grow closer to God. Just like the Israelites forgot God's deeds because the stories weren't passed on with genuine heart, we must be intentional about teaching and living out our faith daily, especially with our children and each other. And remember, God isn't some distant figure waiting to judge. He's a loving Father who disciplines us out of love, who reaches down with kindness and patience, who invites us back again and again. His faithfulness is the thread that runs through history, from the judges, through the kings, and ultimately fulfilled in Jesus, who conquered sin and death, giving us true rest and peace. So, whether you're on a high point in your faith, or feeling a little spiritually lost right now, take comfort that God's love holds steady. He is always faithful, always reaching out to bring you home. And that, my friend, is a hope worth holding on to. Thanks for joining me today. Keep seeking, keep trusting, and keep growing in that beautiful, personal friendship with God.